Hello, so buddies, it's Whitney IY here, and you're welcome back again to this YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, you're highly welcome. Please do want to hit the subscribe button and also click on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop a new video. In this video, we will be making this beautiful top that has this shoulder and neck drapings, and it somewhat mimics the curl neckline but has it coming to the front with splitting at its shoulder. I got the inspiration from Pinterest, but it was a jumpsuit combo, so I will only be recreating the upper bodice, which is the top. So if this is something you're interested in, then do well and keep watching, and also do not touch the dial. And this is the fabric I've been making use of. It's 1.5 yard and it's very stretchy, and sincerely I do not know its name. Now, judging from the style inspiration, you can see that it has darts and also it has a zip at the back, but because this fabric I'm making use of is a very stretchy fabric, I won't be needing that on this top, and also I won't be needing the zip at the back. But if you want a zip on your back pattern, probably you're not making use of the stretch of any stretchy fabric, your fabric it's normal, then you can go ahead and make use of zip and also make use of that. You go ahead and draft out your pattern with the back tightening and all of that. So with that being said, right now we'll go right into the drafting, and these are the items that I'll be using for the drafting. If you don't have your pattern paper, you can get to make use of a cardboard paper or any large piece of paper that you have. So the very first step into drafting is to come down from the beginning of your pattern paper by 1 inch like this. This is just to get a straight line, which is going to serve as the top line or the starting line. So you go ahead and come down from the beginning of your paper by 1 inch, and you bring in your rule and connect the dots to get a straight line. After doing that, the next step is to mark out your shoulder measurement. So the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 15 inches, and 15 divided by 2 gives me 7.5, and that is what I'll go ahead and mark out here, 7.5. Next step is to mark out the neckline, and you can either make use of the regular 3 inches or calculate for the neckline of the client you're working for or of the individual. And to calculate, all you have to do is to divide the round bust measurement by 12. So the round bust measurement I'm working with is 34 divided by 12 gives me 2.8, and that is what I've marked out as the neck width and the neck depth. And I'll go ahead and connect the neck width to the neck depth like this to get a perfect neckline. Next is to come down by 1 inch from that shoulder measurement I marked out earlier, like this. Come down by 1 inch, and I'll bring in my rule to connect the 1 inch to the neck width like so. So this is just to get that shoulder slant or slope, because our shoulder is not straight, it's quite slanted. Moving on, the next step is to mark out the armhole depth, and to get the armhole depth for an individual, all you have to do is to divide the round bust measurement by 6 plus 1.5. so the round bust measurement I'm working with is 34 divided by 6 plus 1.5 gives me 7.16, which is approximately 7.2, and that is what I'm marking out, 7.2, starting from that 1 inch or from that shoulder slope. Yeah, that is that 1 inch I came down with. So I've marked out the 7.2 inches. So right here, I'm marking out my shoulder measurements at this point as well, so that I'll just make sure I have a straight line while connecting the armhole depth to the shoulder. I hope you understand. So I'll go ahead and bring in my rule and connect the armhole depth to the shoulder. The next step is to divide the round bust measurement by 4 and mark it out just to get the chest line. So the round bust measurement I'm working with obviously is 34 divided by 4 gives me 8.5, and that is what I am marking out right here like this. And I'll go ahead and bring in my rule and connect this straight down like so, and this is the chest line. Next is to mark out the armhole curve, get the armhole curve, and to do that you have to find the midpoint from this shoulder here to this armhole depth, and you fold your tape over like this, as you can see what I'm doing, and then you mark the midpoint. And since this is the front pattern that we are drafting out right now, you have to go in from that midpoint by 0.75. Then you go ahead and connect the shoulder, the 0.75 and the bust measurement together to get the armhole curve like this. So right now the armhole curve is set. So the next step is to go ahead and mark out the waistline measurement. Now remember, I stated earlier on that this top that I'm making is not going to have a dart because it's a stretchy fabric. So since there is no dart, then I won't be making use of the back waist length and the front waist length. Rather, I'll be making use of the front waist length as the waistline for both the front and the back. So the front waist length I'm working with is 17 inches, and that is what I'm going to be using as the waistline for both the front and the back pattern. So I'll go ahead and mark out 17 inches like this, and this is where this top is going to stop because this top is a crop top. But if you want the top longer than this, then you can go ahead and mark out your top length, how long you want the top to be. So this line is the waistline. Now on this waistline, I'll go ahead and divide the round waist measurement by 4 and mark it out. So the round waist measurement I'm working with is 27 divided by 4 gives me 6.75, and that is what I have marked out here on the waistline. And I'll go ahead and connect the bust to this waist measurement like this. So for this, I'll be using a broken line because I just want to explain something briefly to you. So I'll just use a broken line to connect. Now, if you want some form of ease around the bust and around the waistline, let's say you're not making use of a stretchy fabric, then you can go ahead and add half an inch on the bust area and also on the waist area like this, half an inch here and also half an inch here. So this just gives some form of ease around the bust and around the waist. That is if you wish to have some form of ease. So I'll go ahead and connect this together. But since I'm making use of a stretchy fabric, take note on the emphasis on the stretchy fabric. I won't be needing this ease. Next step is to alter this basic neckline to a V neckline. And initially I came down by 5.5 inches here at the center front like this, but I later decided to go down by 7 inches. So take note, I went down by 7 inches, and I'll connect this back to the neck width like this using the straight part of my rule like this. So at this point, the front pattern of this top is ready. So I'll go ahead and cut out this front pattern using the scissors, of course. So if you want your top longer than this, like I earlier stated, you go ahead and indicate how long you want it to be and draft it out. So for the shoulder, I'll be leaving half an inch allowance, the armhole half an inch allowance, for the side seam 1 inch allowance, and at the hem 1 or 2 inches allowance. Then for the neckline, I won't be leaving any form of allowance because I want this top to be able to pass through the head easily because there is no form of zip at the back pattern, at the center back. Always indicate your side front and your center front so you can be able to tell. Then next step is to draft out the back pattern. Now, as always, come down from the beginning of your pattern paper by 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and come down from the beginning of my pattern paper by 1 inch like this. And I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect these dots to get a straight line like so. Now on the straight line, I'll divide the shoulder measurement I'm working with into 2, and obviously it's 7.5 after dividing 15 by 2. And next step, I'll go ahead and mark out the neck width, which is 2.8 inches, because that is what I also marked out for the neck width for the front. And for the neck depth, it's 1 inches. You come down by 1 inches like this. The neck depth for every individual for their back pattern is 1 inch. So I'll connect this back to the neck width. Next, I'll come down by 1 inch from the shoulder like this, as you can see, and I'll connect this back to the neck width to get a shoulder slant or slope like this. Next step, I'll go ahead and mark out the armhole depth, and like I earlier explained, the armhole depth for my client is 7.2 inches, and that is what I just marked out, 7.2 inches. And here I'm marking out the shoulder measurement here just to make sure I have a straight line when connecting the armhole depth back to the shoulder slope like this. Next, I'll divide the round bust measurement by 4 and mark it out to get the chest line. So the round bust measurement I'm working with is 34 divided by 4 gives me 8.5, and that is what I'm marking out here. And I'll connect this back down using my rule like this. and this line is the chest line. Next is to draw the armhole curve for the back. So I'll go ahead and place my tape like this and then fold it over like this just to get the midpoint. So I'll go ahead and mark out the midpoint. Now, since this is the back pattern, you have to go in by 0.5 inches. Take note, 0.5 inches for the back pattern. And I'll go ahead and connect these 3 points together. That is the shoulder slope, the 0.5 inch and the bust measurement to get the armhole curve like this. So now that I have my armhole curve, I'll go ahead and mark out the waistline. So remember, the waistline, I'm making use of the front waistline as the back waistline because I'm not making use of any form of that. This top does not have that. So 17 inches is the waistline, and that is what I am marking out like this. And I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect to get a straight line like this. Please always take note of how I place my tape while marking out. So because there is no zip, there is no need for back tightening and all of that. But if you're making use of a zip, always make sure to, do your back tightening. So on the waistline, I'm going to divide the round waist measurement by 4 and mark it out. So 27 divided by 4 gives me 6.75, and that is what I've marked out. And I'll bring in my rule to also connect this using the dotted lines. So the purpose of doing this all is around the bust and around the waistline is just so you would understand, because for me, I really do not need this because I'm making use of a stretchy fabric. So if you want ease around the bust and around the waist, probably you're not making use of a stretchy fabric, you can go ahead and add half an inch to the bust and to the waist, and maybe to the top length if you're doing a longer top. That is a top that is longer than this. I hope you do understand. So right now, I'll go ahead and cut out this pattern as well using my scissors like this. Now that I have the back pattern, I'll be leaving half an inch on the shoulder, half an inch allowance at the armhole, 1 inch for the side seam, and 1 or 2 inch at the hem. And for the neckline also, I'm not leaving any form of allowance at the neckline, on the neckline rather, because as I earlier explained, I want it wide enough to be able to pass through the head when putting this on. So always take note of the center front, center back, and the side back. So the front and the back pattern is ready. Right now, I'll go ahead and cut out the sleeve. So for the sleeve, you also get a piece of pattern paper, and as usual or as always, come down by 1 inch from the beginning of your pattern paper like this. And then I'll bring in my rule to connect these dots to get a straight line like this. And after doing this, the next step is to mark out the cap height line. So to get the cap height line for the individual you're working with or working for, divide the round bust measurements by 12 plus 1 inches. So the round bust measurement I'm working with is 34 divided by 12 plus 1 gives me 3.8, and that is what I just marked out, as you can see, and I'm connecting the dots to get a straight line. Next step is to mark out the sleeve length, and I'll be making use of 8.5 inches as the sleeve length. You can make use of any inches if you want it as a long sleeve, whatever you want, just go ahead and do it. But for the sleeve length, I'm making use of 8.5 inches. But if you're recreating the exact sleeve on the inspiration, then make use of 9 inches as your sleeve length. So this is the cap height line, and this other line is the sleeve length or sleeve line. Next, on this cap height line, divide the round bust measurements by 6 plus 1.5. So what I have is 7.2, and that is what I am marking out here on the cap height line. And on the sleeve length, you divide your round bicep or the round bicep measurement by 2 and mark it out. So the round bicep measurement I'm working with is 10 inches. Divided by 2 gives me 5, and that is what I marked out. And I've connected this back to the cap height line. Next, I'll bring in my rule and just connect this measurement here back to this top line here to get this triangle shape. And I'll go ahead and get the midpoint of this triangular line like this, as you can see, and I'll just mark out the midpoint. And from the midpoint here, I'll go up by half an inch like this. So next is to draw the sleeve curve. Now when drawing the curve, make sure you do not exceed this half an inch at the top. Make sure you do not exceed this half an inch at the top. Like your curve should be in between. So please just watch the way I am connecting the curve. If you don't have your curve rule to draw all of these curvings and connection and all of that, you can use your free hand to just go ahead and do it. Just make sure you get a perfect curve. So you can see the way I'm placing my rule to make sure I get this nice sleeve curve, and the curve is ready. So I'll go ahead and cut this out as well using my scissors. Then for the allowances, I'll be leaving 1 inch at the side seam, half an inch at the sleeve cap, and 1 or 2 inches at the hem. Whenever, I don't know yet, when I'm cutting out the fabric, I'll know what I'm leaving. So right now, I'll go ahead and cut out all the fabric. We're using all the pattern papers, and I'll bring them back. So this is the front pattern, and as you can see, I've already used it to cut out the fabric. So you can see I have half an inch on the shoulder here, half an inch on the armhole, 1 inch at the side seam, and also 2 inches at the hem here. Yes, I left 1.5 inches at the hem. And make sure your fabric is on fold. Yes, make sure your fabric is on fold while cutting this out. Now this is the back pattern, and at the shoulder you can see I left half an inch, armhole half an inch, side seam 1 inch, and at the hem as well I left 1.5 inches allowance. And always make sure it's on fold while cutting it out. So now for the sleeves, I cut out 2 of the sleeve because one has to be on the right and the other on the left, and you can see 2 of it, and it was on fold as well. And for the allowances, I left half an inch at the sleeve cap, 1 inch for the side seam, and 2 inches at the hem because I'll be making use of hemming gum. So the next thing right now is to go ahead and hem the sleeves and also hem the back and front patterns. So for the sleeve, in hemming it, you would want to fold it over like this and iron, and make sure you either go ahead and weave the edge here. You go ahead and weave this edge, then place an hemming gum in between, then you iron. Yes, but if you cannot weave it, you can just fold in half an inch, place an hemming gum and iron. This is the hemming gum. So you place an hemming gum like this, as you can see, and then you go ahead and fold over the 2 inches. Make sure you hem the edge or fold in half an inch like this, and then you go ahead and iron. That is how you hem this, right? Then after doing this, you make sure you also hem the other sleeve as well. You know there are 2 sleeves, so make sure you hem the 2 sleeves. Now for the front pattern, you also go ahead and hem the down of the front pattern. So remember I left 1.5 inch for the hemming allowance. So sorry, this is the back pattern. So you go ahead and also fold in, either you hem it like this, fold in half an inch like this and fold it again and stitch all through, or you can go ahead and also weave the edge, put your hemming gum in between, and iron, whichever you want to do. So for this front pattern, you can see I also went ahead to hem it, as you can see. Right now it's time for draping on the front pattern, and there are 2 methods of doing this, but I'll be using one of the methods on this video. Maybe when next I'm recreating the style again, I'll use the other method. So for the wideness of this fabric, it's 24 inches wide, and this is the remaining fabric I have left from the 1.5 yard of fabric that I used for this top. Right now, I'll go ahead and attach a part of this fabric to the neckline, and I'll make sure I place the right side of this fabric on the wrong side of the front pattern, and I'll go ahead and pin up the neckline because I'm going to go ahead and stitch it up with half an inch allowance. So I'll just go ahead and put it like this, use my pins to secure it, to place it on hold so I can, know what I'm doing, understand. So you just go ahead and close up the neckline using half an inch. Yeah, so after doing that, the next step is to go ahead and start pleating that wideness that I just measured out. That is that 24 inches I just measured out. And make sure you aim the down of the fabric you want to use for your draping. Make sure you aim it. So you can see the way I'm just pleating, just creating, you know, that nice drapes, that those nice kind of draping fold and all of that. You can see it. And while draping, make sure you leave 1 inch on the front fabric. Make sure you leave 1 inch on the front fabric so you can be able to sew in your sleeves. I hope you understand. And take note that it does not necessarily mean you must pleat it to one side. This is draping, so there is no particular pattern on how you pleat it. You can pleat it left or right, any one you want to do. So this is me trying to do the other side as well, just to have that nice, you know, draping fold that mimics the cowl neckline. So this is it. Yeah, and make sure you always leave about 1 inch at that side. So I'll just go ahead and place this on my mannequin and carefully drape it, and I'll get to show you guys. And I'll use my needle and thread to tack it, to hold it in place. So make sure you leave 1 inch here at the shoulder here for attaching the sleeve, so you can see it. And then for the draping fold, make sure it stops at your under bust. That is where this draping fold should stop. That is the old cowl neck mimicking. It should stop at the under bust line, the under bust point. So you go ahead and mark out your under bust on the fabric. So that is where this drapings should stop or should fall on. I hope you understand. So I'll go ahead and put this on my mannequin and carefully arrange this. So this is it on my mannequin. As you can see, I used my needle and thread to tack the drapings. As you can see, it's still a work in progress, and I've stitched up the neckline, and this is the draping I am doing right now. And as you can see, I have cut out the remaining piece of the fabric. So this is it. You can see I tacked it with the needle and thread for now, temporarily, to make sure I have that draping, to see if what I'm doing is on point. And you can see the neckline, I have stitched it up using 1/2 inch. That is 0.5 inches, as you can see. So right now I'll bring in the back pattern. So I'll go ahead and place the back pattern like this, and right now I'll go ahead and close up the shoulders. But before closing up the shoulders, the back neckline also need interfacing. So what I'll do, I'll get a piece of fabric. I'll make sure I fold the back pattern into 2, and then I'll get this piece of fabric like this, and I'll go ahead and cut. So while cutting this fabric, what I'm cutting out is about 4 inches, 4 to 5 inches. That's what I'm cutting out right now, like this, as you can see. And then I'll go ahead and flip this over. Please just watch. This is me just cutting, interfacing. It's no biggie. It's something you can do easily. So I'll go ahead and place it and make sure it's properly arranged. Yes, it has to be properly arranged, because the interfacing has to mimic exactly the neckline of the back pattern. And I'll go ahead and cut out this neckline like so. So now that I have the interfacing for the back pattern, I will come ahead and bring it in. And right now I'll go ahead and aim the down like this. You can either aim it or also use your aiming gum, but I'll prefer you aim. Then I'll go ahead and place it like so. When placing it, make sure the right side is on the right side of the interfacing is on the right side of the back pattern, and you go ahead and close up the neckline like this, as you can see, using 1/2 inch as well. As you can see, I've closed up the neckline, and I also notched just to make sure the neckline is relaxed. So right now I'm going to go ahead and bring in the aiming gum. So I'll go ahead and place the aiming gum like this and carefully iron. So you go ahead and place it like this and iron. Place the aiming gum and carefully iron. So right now, before you go ahead and close up the shoulders, so you have to do that before you close up the shoulders of the back and the front pattern. So right now you can see I've closed up the shoulders, as you can see. So whichever part you do not understand, just let me know in the comment section, and I'll try as much as possible to explain to you. So right now it's time to attach the sleeve, to sew in the sleeve. So I'll go ahead and get the midpoint of the sleeve by notching the midpoint like this, and I'll open it wide. So now that I have the midpoint, I'll go ahead and place it on the shoulder like this, making sure the right side of the sleeve is on the right side of the top. and I'll go ahead and close it round like this, stitch it round using 1/2 inch. So make sure the midpoint is on the shoulder joining, make sure of that, and I'll also do that on the other sleeve. So as you can see, I have attached the sleeve. You can see 1/2 inch, and then right now it's time to close up the side seam. So you go ahead and flip over the back pattern like this, arrange the top carefully like so. You can see the way I am arranging it, and then I'll go ahead and close it up. So since this is a very stretchy fabric, I made use of 1.5 inch for closing the sleeve and 2 inches for closing the top. So guys, this is the outcome. You can see how beautiful the top is looking, and I paired it with this nice pencil skirt that has a front slit. Yes, I made a tutorial for this, so if you want to watch how this skirt was made, drafted, cut, sewn, then I'll drop the link to the skirts on the comment section. I will actually pin the link to that video in the comment section. So guys, this is the top and it's looking beautiful. It's something you can rock on trousers and skirt as well. So if you enjoyed this video and if this video was helpful to you, please do well to hit the subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up. So see you on my next video. Love you guys. Ciao.